You're listening to Big World Network.
Average, Season 2, Episode 9. Written by Jonathan Thompson, read by Heather Thompson. What do you mean you don't see the point? Cosmo demanded, almost shouting. Here's something I would like everyone, everywhere, to know about me. Topping the charts of things that drive me insane are stupid questions to which someone expects an intelligent answer. It's not so much that I get mad at the asker, but I will be furious at the question. Honestly, it's because I have no idea how to answer it. The answer is so obvious, or at least I think it is, that I feel like there's no way to answer the question without sounding like I'm talking down to the other person. In my head, I wonder if maybe they meant it rhetorically. But no, more often than not, they really want a sincere answer. And Cosmo wanted a sincere answer. But I had already made my case. I had already explained that I felt like the theory was solid and I didn't really see the point in continuing the interviews. I know, but Quinn, you will doubtlessly ask, what happened to all your zeal for a sage-like position shrouded in wisdom? I was 16. A week is a pretty long existence for the life plan of a 16-year-old boy. I just don't see why this is so necessary to this super community, I explained. Ugh, why can't people ever just listen to me? Cosmo asked the heavens in an absurd display of desperation. But just talking to your family's been enough to prove my theory. Your theory? You didn't have a theory till I told you mine. Whatever. I'm used to not getting credit for my contributions. I couldn't really get upset at this. I totally did steal Cosmo's theory. So, whoops. Did you ever think that my family is an exception? He continued. Maybe they've just had such a good life that things worked out better for them. And not everybody has what you might call a traditional superpower, he reminded me. I thought immediately of Bart, the seemingly magnetic, not really a supervillain that Dad had set on me earlier. His power came from a machine that manipulated a serious medical condition. That completely conflicted with our theory. Don't you hate discovering plot holes in your life? Then you have to consider future generations of supers who will be confused and need some sort of direction when it comes to understanding their powers. I had to figure out on my own, but not everybody is capable of that. So you think the solution is to have me, a 16-year-old boy who has no powers, write a manual? First of all, he sighed, I already told you that I'm not convinced that you don't have a power. And second, yes, I think you're perfect for the job. With my help, obviously. You have a way with people, Quinn. You understand them. But not on a silly emotional level. You get people in a very intellectual way, like a dog trainer. Oh, thanks. No, it's a good thing. Trust me. I'm the same way. You see connections, understand behavior, and can apply that information without getting all... He flitted his hands around while he searched for the word. Attached. I took a second to think about this. We had pretty much had this conversation before. His argument hadn't really changed much, and the first time I'd heard it, it pumped me full of confidence and exuberance, so what had changed? Why had I lost my enthusiasm so quickly? Maybe you're right. Maybe I just have to get to some people who really need help. Oh, trust me, that's the problem here. And there's plenty out there who do, both in and out of the Union. Look, I didn't want to have to involve him, but would it help if I talked to your father and got him to help you out? He'll do this for me. In any other situation, I might have just let Cosmo talk, but here he insinuated that my father would help me for Cosmo's sake, and that would not fly. So I had to let some air out of his sails. Oh, he already knows, I said casually. You told him? No, I promised you I wouldn't, I reassured him. But he heard the whole conversation. He does have super hearing, you know. Of course I knew that, Cosmo snapped. But that's fine. I should talk to him about it anyway. I knew I shouldn't have brought it up to you when he was around, but you just had to force my hand that night. Another one of Cosmo's remarkable talents, Shifting blame. So, do you still want me to talk to the rest of your family? I asked, ready to end the discussion and take out my frustration on an entire box of Captain Crunch. Yes. Why don't you just ask me your questions while you're here? Sure. Okay, I stalled. I had known that eventually I should get some more details from Cosmo, but for some reason I just wasn't anticipating it at that moment. My bad. Thankfully, I had my trusty notepad, so I pulled it out and started acting like I knew what I was doing, which, I'm proud to say, I was getting very good at doing. Alright, I started. Cosmo settled deeper into his chair, basking in the attention. So you mentioned that you developed your power because you had to protect yourself. From what? His face darkened with a sincerity I wasn't used to from Cosmo. This wasn't one of his shows. My question, or his planned answer to it, really bothered him. My father was a tyrant, a brutally abusive drunk. For most of my childhood, I lived in complete fear of him. I never had any idea when or how he was going to come after me, and no one else in the family would stand up to him. But then, one day, I could hear him stewing, clear as day. After that, I was always one step ahead of him. He never touched me again, and I got out of there as soon as I could. As he spoke, it was impossible for me to not feel sorry for him. I couldn't help but understand his paranoia, his offensive style of self-defense. In the other room, Gracie started playing the piano. Cosmo relaxed and smiled. I had nothing else to ask him. That's all I'd ever needed to know about Cosmo Giuseppe LaGuardia. You should talk to Gracie now, he said. You don't think I should talk to James first? Nah, where'd you get that from? Gracie's playing and she knows you're here, which means she's comfortable with you. She never plays the piano when people are here. Alright, I gulped and tucked my pad into my jacket pocket. Thanks, Cosmo. No problem, Quinn. I slowly started to close the door, but he stopped me. You can leave that open. I love when she plays.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.
You're listening to Big World Network.